Most people fail at building habits because they start too big. But what if I told you the secret to massive success is to start ridiculously small? These 5 tiny habits transform my marriage, my business, and even help me run 100 miles in one day. Let me show you how. When I was in college, I was obsessed with running. I trained every day, twice a day, Monday through Saturday, and on Sunday, I would run for 2 hours. When I got married, I stopped running. In fact, I didn't want running to eclipse my marriage, to the point where I would just train off and on, and my wife would tell me, hey, why don't you set up an actual training program? You'll run 20 miles one day and then you won't run for 2 weeks. And then you'll train for this for one day and then you won't do it. And I had to confess to her, I was like, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to fall down that obsessiveness and put our marriage in the back burner because I become so obsessed about running. But the truth is that this wasn't just happening with running, it was leaking into other parts of my life. I wanted to change my life in 5 main areas. I wanted to be better in other areas of my life. So I set up 5 habits to actually help me do that. The 5 habits were: take 40 breaths every single day. The second one was to do 10 minutes of movement every single day. Third one was to read 5 pages every single day. Fourth was to make a video every single day. And the final one was to write 50 words at a minimum every single day. The 5 habits I decided to do were take 40 breaths, 10 minutes of movement, read 5 pages every single day, make a video, and finally write 50 words at a minimum every single day. Here's the beauty of it. After 2 months, my wife confessed, she goes, watching you be so consistent every single day on doing these 5 things actually makes me feel safer. As you can imagine, I was a little bit puzzled. I was like, man, what? That makes absolutely no sense. Why would me doing these 5 habits have anything to do with the way you feel and like safety? And she goes, no, seeing you be consistent actually makes me feel safe because I feel like I can count on you. The fact that you're that consistent on these little things lets me know as your wife that you can be there and consistent for me as my husband. Needless to say, I was blown away. I was really, because I had no idea. That was a side effect that I had no clue about. I was just in my own head, and I feel super blessed that my wife was able to communicate that, because it only fed the fire of staying that much more consistent. And I didn't miss a single day. Now, let me just share with you why I chose those 5 and how they grew into something greater. So the first one were the 40 breaths. Why the 40 breaths? I had tried in the past different meditation apps, different meditation approaches. And what I found was that I wasn't consistent with it. It took too long. And at the end of the day, what I wanted to do was feel more energized, feel more at peace. And after exploring different things, I realized that if I take time to breathe, that in and of itself can radically change the way I feel. It's changed my mental state and my physical state. I started exploring different ways, whether it was just lying down and relaxing doing them. Other times I was moving doing them, like doing upward and downward dogs as I was taking my breaths. Other times was just moving my spine and moving my whole body in weird ways just to activate the body in the breathing motion and just experiment. What I found with that is I had more energy, I had more focus, and my day started off much better. The second thing, 10 minutes of movement. One of the things that kept happening was that I would do something big. I'd go for a 10, 15, 20 mile run one day, and then I'd be so destroyed that I couldn't do anything for a week or 2. Or I would go and hit the gym hard one day, and again, I would do it too hard, and then I wouldn't be able to stick with it for another 4 or 5 days because I'd be so sore or just be too tired. So I decided 10 minutes as a minimum, and it could be anything. So I wanted to set myself up for success. And what that meant was that 10 minutes of movement could be 10 minutes of walking, it could be 10 minutes of running, it could be 10 minutes of stretching, it could be 10 minutes of calisthenics or weights. Whatever it was, I gave myself a really wide net to be successful. Because at the beginning, you're trying to create momentum. Once that ball is rolling, you can hyper-focus. And in reality, those 10 minutes were actually the key to unlocking me being able to run 100 miles in one day. Because what ended up happening was, for 10 minutes a day, I did that for 2 years. 2 years without missing a day. And at some point, after 2 years, I said, hey, I'd like to make running its own thing. So I separated it and I said, can I run 30 minutes every single day for 30 days? Now, I was still doing my 10 minutes, but now the running didn't count for the 10 minutes. Now the running was its own separate category. And so now it was stretching, walking, calisthenics, yoga, whatever other thing that counted, jiu-jitsu, whatever else, that counted as my 10 minutes, and my running was for 30 minutes. After 30 days, I decided, okay, well, what if I went up 15 minutes? Could I do that for 45 minutes for 30 days? And I did that. And I kept going until I built up that I was running 2 hours every single day for an entire month. Well, as that continued to build, my confidence built, my ability to sustain being out there grew. Eventually I signed up for a 100-miler and I ran 100 miles in one day through the mountains of Alabama. It was a point-to-point race, so it means you start one place, you end up 100 miles later. It was life-changing, but that's a story for another day. The third thing was read 5 pages every single day. Now, reading has always been difficult for me, and there's a saying that says, leaders are readers, and whether you believe that or not, I believed it. And I wanted to not only be a better reader, I wanted to have more knowledge. And that was the fast track to doing it. But if I said I had to read a book a day or I had to read a book a week, that was a little bit overwhelming at the beginning. And so 5 pages seemed doable. I could do 5 pages. And guess what? After every single day, I read 5 pages and it was amazing. And I gave myself a lot of flexibility. It could be 5 pages on a physical book, which, by the way, if a book is like this, it's gonna have more. There were gonna be some days where I would read 5 pages on a book on my phone. Obviously, those pages are much smaller. Again, give yourself that grace. Give a wide net at the beginning. That really opened my eyes to the way other people were thinking. Absorbing the knowledge of these masters, these authors, helped open up my horizons of different things that were possible. It helped me have better thinking process as I was wanting to speak more, wanting to write more. It gave me an idea of how were people doing things, and were there people I wanted to model? Were there things that really interested me that I can go deeper in? And so those 5 pages every single day of reading opened the door for new possibilities as a reader, new possibilities as a learner. The next one was make a video every single day. Now this one's odd because one of my big visions is to speak on stage. And as a result of this, I've gotten to speak on stages. And one of the comments that people make is like, man, you're so lucky. You are so comfortable on stage. You must be a natural. And that could be nothing further than the truth. I have been studying it and I'm not even good at it yet. I don't believe I'm good. I'm not being boastful. I don't believe I'm a good speaker yet, but I have gotten a lot better. And the reason why I decided to do the videos is I have 3 kids. I have a beautiful and wonderful wife. And one of the things that I heard from a gentleman by the name of Bo Eason, who was an NFL football player and became a phenomenal speaker. And he said, if you want to be a better speaker, get on as many stages as possible. And I was like, okay, number one, I don't know that many people don't know me to be able to get on a lot of stages. The other thing is the logistics of being on a stage every single day is going to be very difficult because I have a family, I have a business to run. So I decided to create my own stage. My stage is exactly what you're looking at right now. My stage is my video camera. And so the beauty of it is it's on my time. I get to create what I want and I don't have to travel for it. Now, I still will speak on occasion on stages and I love speaking on stages, but to do it every single day would really affect my family life, and that's not something I'm willing to do. So in order to become a better speaker, I decided that my stage would be the phone, and I was gonna make a video every single day so that I can become a better speaker and become more comfortable in front of the camera. And again, one of the things that people have mentioned to me is like, wow, you're like so comfortable in front of the camera. What they don't know is that I've been doing videos for more than 5,000 days in a row without missing a day. So I've put in reps. And like I said, I'm just getting started. I'm not great at it yet. I've gotten a lot better, but as I continue to study, just explore it more, I know that it will continue to bring fruit and continue to create impact. So that's why I decided on the make a video every single day. The last one is to write 50 words every single day. The reason I chose that is because when I write, it is very difficult. I fumble through it. It is a lot of resistance. But what I found was when I was able to write what I wanted to say, or as I was going back and forth, what I found was that writing actually brought more clarity to my thinking. And I liked that. I wanted to be a clearer and better communicator. Writing seemed to be the strength training for clear communication. And the visual that I want to give is, if you want to get stronger, you're going to put resistance and you're going to put the weights to actually make your muscles fight through the resistance to get stronger. Well, I was fighting and continue to fight through writing. And that writing has led to more clarity. Now, something magical happened because I almost failed English. I struggled through literature and English class. And in 2017, I wrote my first book. And I never thought I'd write a book. I never thought I wanted to write a book. But because I had been doing it for 2 years, I had the practice, I had built up the resistance, and I had built up a clarity of certain topics, in this particular case, legacy, that really inspired me. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna put it in a book. And so what I'm sharing with you is that by taking the opportunity of doing 50 words every single day, that's the minimum. It gave me an opportunity to start on a blank page and create momentum. Many times I would start writing and 50 words will go by and I just keep going. I'm 200, 300, 1,000 words in. Because there was an opportunity to start small, I could take that first step. If I said, hey, you have to write 1,000 words, there are gonna be a lot of days that I wouldn't have even attempted it. But because I was able to do 50 words every day, it was like an Instagram post. I could put 50 words in and it didn't feel so daunting. And there were days where I was literally counting words. Oh, that's 49. Is there an adjective that I can throw in there just to hit my 50? But there were other days that it just flowed and I went, you know? There's a saying that professionals do it even with the headache, right? And when you think about it like that, is why? Because you show up to work every single day, whether you feel like it or not, and you put in the work, you put in the reps. One of my favorite authors, one of the books that inspired me the most was Stephen Pressfield's War of Art. That just like changed the way I thought about things, because the resistance, as he called it, was always rearing its ugly head, and it was constantly telling me, hey, oh, this is too hard, just don't do this. I don't feel like doing this. This resistance, as Stephen Pressfield calls it, was the thing stopping me from creating masterpieces. And I say that with humbleness, but with excitement. As a result of writing every single day, I took on writing poetry. I wrote a book that became a bestseller. I've become clear in my communication. And again, I'm not great at it. And that's the best part. I know that I'm only getting better, but because I'm willing to do it each and every day. Why do I share this with you? The reason I share this with you is because if you take the time to plant these little seeds, to plant these little micro habits, what you end up with over time, over a year, 2 years, 3 years, is a thriving forest of accomplishment, of growth, and of a new reality that you never would have thought of. So here's my challenge. You can either take these 5 that I've shared or create your own, but make them small enough that you use this one rule. And this is my power rule when creating micro habits. Make them so easy that you can do them even on your worst day. There were days that I had the flu and I still made a video. There were days that I had the flu that I like churned through making my 50-word post. There were days that I was like keeled over, but I mustered up the strength to go for a 10-minute walk because I was so sick. In fact, when we had a hurricane, When we had a hurricane in Miami, that we were locked inside the house, we had no electricity, I ran in place. I exercised in there so that I wouldn't miss my daily habits. And so if you can commit to the micro, you create the macro. This has been me, Armando. I'll catch you later.